As a native Black American and a proud member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. Help me help you discover your roots with a personalized genealogy consultation. Paper trail genealogy matters. DNA tests can't prove ethnicity or tribal affiliation. You must search through paper records to dive deep into your family heritage. During the meeting, I will teach you how to navigate the genealogy process with ease. You'll learn how to link tribal affiliation with your ancestors, and I'll show you the step-by-step process I went through to gaining tribal citizenship. Take the first step to unlocking your past. To book a consultation, send an email to mike@keymediapro.com.
First time ever since obviously being on YouTube for over 5 years, I have ever booked a session, and man, I'm glad that it was with you, Mike. And I look forward to being one of your testimonials of I'm going down this journey, so my family can start to get a sense of who really we are, and not just leave it as stories out there floating, but really get to the weeds of things. And I can do better, and I can teach my daughter exactly, not from her mom's side, but from her father's side, what your bloodline really is, and be proud of that. I thank you for that, Mike.
You prostitute. No, don't get out. They'll come get your ass out of here. Stay in here. Stay in here.
Stay where we stay in here.
Stay right here.
We stay right here.
We are right here.
Prostitute.
Okay? You see who you dealing with.
Who you dealing with?
Huh?
Look at you with your ugly ass. Take your ass back to Africa, Spain, wherever the fuck.
Get your ass back to the slavery.
With your ugly ass.
You get out of the boat, you ugly
fuck.
slave.
Talking about you talking about a prostitute,
you
bitch. You got on some motherfucking footies with some motherfucking tap dance shoes.
You are a slave. Get the fuck out of my place. You are a slave. Look at you, a dog. A dog, you living on kiosks, living on people's tax money and coming here and be giving
you
people.
man.
Get your ass out and go get yourself
your
a job.
boy-headed ass.
You bitch. All of you guys, you are a bitch, okay?
You bitch.
Yeah.
All of you guys, you bitch.
Yeah. Get out.
Get out.
Get out. Get out of my place.
Get out your place.
I'm not gonna get you nothing you want, okay? Not job, okay? Go find it. You're coming here and harassing people.
You mad?
You asshole.
I'm supposed to her on Google.
Oh yes. You are on Kiosks. Who knows what the heck you doing?
You right.
Kiosks,
You right.
Nigger.
You right.
You Negro.
You right.
You are a Negro.
You
Look
right.
at you.
You said,
Coming
"Oh,
from
I'm
both.
You
both
right.
people ass
You
niggers.
right.
Look at you.
You right.
Go get your ass and get yourself a job.
You right. Hold on, no, babe, I'm waiting.
Again in Silver Spring, Maryland. She's treating herself to a few hours of pampering to get her hair braided at a friend's salon.
How are you? How's the family doing this morning?
Okay. What about you?
I'm fine.
The two women met 7 years ago when Nazondekon moved to the U.S. Back then, they both worked in the same hair salon. Their friendship was built on a common language and shared West African roots.
Yes, Africa is a continent, but it's also like a country, especially French-speaking Africa. We have the same culture, we understand each other, we eat basically the same meals, we think the same, we have the same experiences, which is not the case with African Americans, for example.
Relationships between African Americans and African immigrants aren't always easy. In her 7 years in the U.S., Azondekon has yet to build a friendship with an African American.
Sometimes they think their ancestors were sold by ours, so there is some jealousy. There's also jealousy because when we come here, we know where we came, we fight, which isn't always the case for them.
I worked with them for a long time. You just have to know your place and take what you can.
Azondekon's judgment is harsher, fueled by her past encounters.
They might come up to you, and then the next day, they're a different person. For them, friendship is superficial, whereas for me as an African, friendship is sacred.
Even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all this thing, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like, I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then, it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there's some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in they're nurtured that way. Like, they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
They got white names, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be like something Thompson, you know what I mean? Yeah. You'll never see that in an African person. It'll be like Pascal, it'll be Hamada Gogo, it'll be, you know what I mean? Yeah, Kevin, da-da-da. Yeah. They're all, I remember, like, white people.
So something Williams.
Yeah, so.
Nigga said they're odd. They're not.
American women, not all Black American women, some Black American women need to get a grip.
What did they teach them in school?
I don't know what they teach them in school, but do you know what I think it is? The concept that African women or women from the UK who know their heritage and are from African descent are not Black is crazy to me. Because the thing is that Americans are using the concept of Black as a nationality rather than an ethnicity.
Okay, to be Black is to be African American.
Yeah, being Black is phenotypical. It's not to do with your nationalities. I don't think they understand the concept that let me close my mouth and no one can hear my accent. Me and an American girl sit next to each other, they're going to treat us the same. We're Black. So, like, taking away the Black identity from Africans and from people from the UK who are Black is just really, I think that's really like a problem. Stop doing that, please. Thank you.
I feel like part, for me, of my issue with Black Americans feeling that they can police the idea of being Black is that you lot associate Blackness with slavery.
Yeah.
I also do feel like, as well, policing a label that we didn't create is so boring.
Yeah.
It's a social construct that they made.
Wanting to have power that you
so
just never
boring.
had. I think that's what it is.
And it's just for like, shut up, actually. Yeah. Ultimately, was the aim of that sentence.
Y'all from London, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Who's smarter, Americans?
Definitely not. No.
Really?
Black people don't even know what country they come from. I said black people down there don't even know what country they come from.
So what country you come from?
Me, a few. I'm African and Caribbean.
Where were you born?
Here.
So if your kids are born here, where are they from?
Well,
Huh?
From London, but ethnically.
Hold on, ethnically don't matter. After four.
He does. That's what we mean. Okay. Americans, they're born there.
But isn't that ignorant to say it?
No, our point.
Hold on. Hold on, you're white, girl. Calm down.
No, I'm
You still white. It's calm down.
Hold on. That's what I'm trying to.
So you think that was a choice?
Well, if they decided to ask their mum where they're from.
My mom was born in America.
Well, she should at least know.
My grandmother was born in America.
She should at least know.
How? Slavery was a crazy thing. Do you think that was a choice?
Of course not.
So how can you say that? Like, seriously, how can you say that though? Like.
Yeah, but we know the few countries we're from. At least in America, they don't know anything. They just say they're from like California or somewhere.
But hold on, after 5 or 6 generations and building up America, don't you think we own America? That's our home.
Well.
Would there be an America if there weren't black people there?
I don't think that matters.
It does matter because without black people in America, there's no America.
I don't know.
It's true.
Okay, but like, calmly, all Americans are just dumber.
How?
If I show you a flag right now, you won't be able to tell me what that is.
Who cares what flag it is? Fine, you're dumber. You're dumber. Dumber. How many holes does a straw have?
2. 1.
Enough said. Huh? They're dumber.
We're not African Americans. We're Sudanese Americans.
Yeah, we are African Americans because Sudan is in Africa, so we're African Americans.
I know that.
That's
a whole separate question. Because Dr. Omar actually
we are African
created his own
by
definition.
the term, and that's why some Black Americans say they don't want to be called African Americans because they don't feel like they have any ties to Africa.
I think reparations should be different for African Americans compared to us because we just got here.
No, we don't.
They deserve most of the reparations. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
We shouldn't even be in the conversation of reparations. reparations because we're not descendants of slavery. Reparations from the how we were colonized in Africa. Yeah, we can get reparations from France and Britain and them, but we don't need to get reparations here at all.
Yeah, we'll never get it.
Can I ask this question? What are the nuances and or parallels to the South Sudanese or African with the Black American experience?
When I was growing up, most of my friends were African, and when I would say like stuff about Black people, they're like, oh no, I'm not Black, I'm African. And their parents would say that too. I would hear their parents say the word akata like towards Black people. So I just don't think that our generation feels like that. I think it's the older generation that really feels like the separation more, just because they were immigrants.
Honestly, I felt more othered and more like pushed aside by Black American women than anyone else. Not saying, not to perpetuate that trope of angry Black woman or mean Black woman, but when I met Sarah in high school, she was my first best friend. All the way up until high school, I had never had a close friend that was Black. Sarah was the first one, and she's African. So I've never had the experience where I was bullied by African people or felt other. Like, this is my first time ever hearing that term that's derogatory towards Black people.
Oh, the Akata term?
Yeah, this is my first time ever hearing
I've
that.
never heard that either.
Yeah, I've never used it.
So let's be honest, that's a West African term, and it's not to separate East Africans versus West Africans, but more tension when it comes to these specific issues when it comes to West Africans and African Americans, because there is historical context.
Yeah, they're in closer proximity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, for sure. Especially when you talk about slavery.
African Americans made it cool to be Black. Yeah, it's true. They did. You say BFFR, babes, that's African American slang. Don't ever say that to me again. Music as we know it today is practically African American. They created all these genres. The African Americans started it for all of us, but what were we able to make out of what they started for us? Europe's Black music scene used to just be a copy of Black American culture, but eventually they realized we gotta make this our own. Afrobeats, a genre in Nigeria that's huge right now, has heavy influence from African American culture. So to my fellow African booty scratchers, I'll say it one more time, okay?
Yes, I am a native Caribbean.
How are you a native Caribbean if you're born and raised in Canada? Your parents may be from Trinidad or Jamaica or something, but if you ask your own parents what they descend from, they'll most likely say African slaves, right?
No, nope, they never told me that. They told me that they are native to the Caribbean islands. There were people already on the islands when Christopher Columbus and the white man came over. They were already...
I wonder if you know that I know he's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up, that's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice. That's your girl? Golly. Okay, I see you. But I just want to know one thing. You ready? Why the fuck you lying?
What tribe are you from, sir?
You know what? My father's a Rastafarian.
That's not a tribe, fuck nigga. That's some bullshit pseudo religion that shabby ass Jamaicans that want to smoke weed and be poor all day created. Rastafarianism is not an indigenous Jamaican tribe. What the fuck are you talking about?
There seems to be this divisiveness that is going on in the diaspora, whether it's Africans or Black Americans or Caribbeans. There seems to be this narrative of your culture is not as respected or you don't have any culture. Like we had African women on the show who said that their parents looked down upon Black Americans a certain way. And I also know Caribbean parents who have come to this country and stay away from them Black people because they are X, Y, and Z.
My parents are both from Grenada. They came here in the 80s and 90s. So what he was saying about how they think that Black people are lazy does resonate with me because I've heard that a lot.
They don't want us together.
Exactly.
So they push the media out there, and the people in other continents is learning about America from what? The media, the movies.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me get some fists and feathers in the chat. If you can hear me loud, crisp, and clear, and we'll go ahead and get this party started. Oh boy, we got another one. You're in for a treat. We got a Bush baby, inbred, big forehead, bald head Bush baby, African girl, and she's gonna claim that Black Americans are colonizing them. Oh Lord, what have we done to them? I don't even think Black Americans are going to Africa en masse. I mean, a few of us go to vacation once in a blue moon. The delusional ones go and move there for a time, but Let's see what this broad got to say, y'all. Let's go.
Sometimes I think about how a lot of Black Americans can low-key be colonizers.
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
There has been a huge number of Black Americans doing a lot of investments in African countries, especially real estate.
Wait, so us investing in real estate in your poor ass third world country means we're colonizing you? Okay. All right. But you don't got no smoke for them Dutch Afrikaans or those red dot on the forehead Indians that been fucking you up, or the Chinaman that got you working in a factory. You ain't got no smoke for the people who are really colonizing you, but let us buy some property on the continent of Africa and your jealous ass is gonna call us some colonizers. You should be kissing our fucking feet, grateful that we're patronizing yo shithole cum dumpster of a country, you ignorant ass, inbred, big forehead, bald head, bush baby bitch you. How dare you?
But the problem is, they're coming and they want to change everything.
Now everybody is seeing what I have seen for the last couple years.
Sometimes I think about how a lot of Black Americans can low-key be colonizers. You know how a lot of Americans like to be in the spotlight? They always want to be at the center of the story. A lot of Black Americans are actually like that when it comes to African stories. They're not interested in Africa unless they're at the center of it. Good example is Woman King. There's also Black Panther, which had the backdrop of Africa, but they didn't even have a premiere event in at least 10 African.
So now she's crying because the movie Black Panther didn't have a premiere on the continent of Africa. Can y'all even afford to go to the fucking movies? Bitch, y'all are walking 10 miles round trip with buckets of dirty water on your head. You know damn well you can't afford to go to no fucking movies. You can't afford no luxuries like that, first world luxuries, and you wondering why we didn't have no movie premiere in Africa? Oh Lord, listen to this dumb shit.
Story. A lot of Black Americans are actually like that when it comes to African stories. They're not interested in Africa unless they're at the center of it. Good example is Woman King. There's also Black Panther, which had the backdrop of Africa, but they didn't even have a premiere event in at least 10 African countries. And no, don't tell me about the 1 or 2 African actors in these movies, because it's giving, I have a Black friend. Also seen a couple of Black Americans traveling from America to African countries to have their hair done because it's cheap. It's giving.
You lying ass, backwards, bush baby, savage bitch, you crooked teeth, janky ass jaw. Oh Lord, you don't make me start. Why is she twerking her neck like this? Who is she trying to be like y'all sisters? Is she trying to be like a native Black American woman? Well, why is she even twerking her fucking neck? First of all, second of all, she's gonna say that our Black American women go to Africa to get their hair done. What are you talking about? Black American women don't even want to be in an African salon getting their hair done by an African hairstylist in America. What woman you know is flying to Africa to get her hair did? You lying ass, backwards, bitch made, babbling savage you. Ain't no Black American woman traveling to your third world shithole cum dumpster of a continent to go get their hair did. What the fuck is she talking about?
And have a premiere event in at least 10 African countries. And no, don't tell me about the 1 or 2 African actors in these movies, because it's giving, I have a Black friend. Also seen a couple of Black Americans traveling from America to African countries to have their hair done because it's cheap. It's giving cheap labor. Who else did that? There's also the passport bros who are like, oh my God, I should just go get a wife in Africa because...
No, passport bros by and large go to the DR or Asia. The last list on the passport bros destination roster is Africa. Don't know passport bro say, let me go get an African girl as their first choice. They trying to get them a Latina or an Asian. Stop the cap. I roasted enough passport bros to know how they get down. They getting drugged, murdered, and robbed over there in the DR to this day. They don't be in Africa like that. Ain't nobody checking for you.
They're easier to oppress and they don't have rights. Lately, there has been a huge number of Black Americans doing a lot of investments in African countries, especially real estate. But the problem is, they're coming and they want to change everything. They're like, yo, the architecture that you have in these African countries, not our vibe. We're just going to bring that American aesthetic. You're just gentrifying a lot of African countries, but you don't care about that, right? As long as you get money in your pocket.
And this is why I tell a lot of Black people, you cannot consider everybody your friend or everybody as family. Even when she was talking, you heard her, right? And I'm believing that this is an African woman talking about Black Americans, but the actions or the mannerisms was that of, in a sense, a Black American woman. Right? You saw how she was moving her neck, how it is that she was talking. She used a terminology.
Okay. I'm glad this brother's calling it out too. Okay. You're getting a live reaction from me. I ain't seen this yet. Good Lord. I'm glad you guys see it as well. Cause I was like, what? And then she's talking about it's giving and like, bitch, how you trying to diss us while you're trying to cosplay us? Ain't no sister trying to go to Africa to sit between you musty ass, nasty hyenas, piss smelling, pussy having ass, bro. I don't even want to think about what between the legs of.
Technology is given, like even with some of the slang that she was using. Again, that's not African based. That's coming directly from us. She stated how it is that Black people don't really care about Africa unless we are the center of attention. Black Panther was made by a white man. If somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, it should have been Stan Lee or at least somebody else in Marvel that created Black Panther. So to try to say that we put ourselves at the center sounds a little bit crazy because we didn't even make that character for ourselves. It was white people that made that character. It was white people that made money off of that, right? It's Marvel that is not Black owned that is making money directly off of that, right? And then she wanted to list, Woman King up there as well. Last time I checked, I could have sworn that somebody else also had, some helpings or some divings or some hands directly on that movie as well. But, maybe I could be wrong. But even if that is not the case and I am wrong, the main point that I'm trying to push through is the fact that Black people aren't trying to make themselves the center. The main thing.
Facts, and then some. And if you're new to the broadcast, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the mission. They still got your boy shadow banned and demonetized, but we're here to give you that content you desperately need.
Thing that Black people have tried to do, at least over here, is to celebrate, give some love, acknowledgement, praise over to Africa because we understand the psychological warfare. We understand the lies that we have been told when it deals with the 10 cents a day, 25 cents a day will help little Christina over in Zimbabwe get the mosquito net and the nice bag of rice that her village needs.
Don't go soft on him. Don't go soft on him. You can go harder than that, brother. You can go much, much harder than that. But let's go ahead and get into it. Does she actually keep on saying things? Or hold on, guys. We're going to play a little bit more. I don't think that was the end of her diatribe, was it?
We understand that we were lied to so many years and decades ago, and that Africa is a pretty rich, wealthy, beautiful continent. Right. So within us gaining that knowledge, we try to, in a sense, give the respect, the praise, and the value that was lost because of how it is that America likes to give propaganda and how it is that they try to devalue melanated people. So number two, she wanted to list that there were Black women going over there to Africa to get their hair done authentically from somebody who was African directly. That's a flex. I'm just going to sit up there and state that. But other than that, if they're doing that, that's better for your economy. That's working out for those people there because those women usually, if for Black women, if their hair is done properly and it looks great and beautiful, they will give.
Come on, y'all. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Ain't no sisters trying to fly to your third world shithole to sit between your musty ass legs and hear you talk shit about them in French, you backwards ass savage, you.
Herself to a few hours of pampering to get her hair braided at a friend's salon.
How are you? How's the family doing this morning?
Okay.
What about you?
I'm fine.
The two women met 7 years ago when Nazon Decon moved to the US. Back then, they both worked in the same hair salon. Their friendship was built on a common language and shared West African roots.
Yes, Africa is a continent, but it's also like a country, especially French-speaking Africa. We have the same culture, we understand each other, we eat basically the same meals, we think the same, we have the same experiences, which is not the case with African Americans, for example.
Relationships between African Americans and African immigrants aren't always easy. In her 7 years in the US, Nazon Decon has yet to build a friendship with an African American.
If you're looking to get genealogy consultation, I highly recommend Mike. You know, he was very thorough, prompt, very knowledgeable. Even taught me some stuff about the background of Indian ancestry and heritage that I didn't know. The biggest piece of it is he taught me how to pull records and really dig into those records to make sure that I have things to match up to be able to take back for my citizenship. So I really appreciate everything he does, and I highly recommend Mike as your genealogist.
Mike TV, this was a really good consultation. If you're curious about your Native American history, this brother knows what he's talking about. He has a wealth of knowledge, wealth of information, and his prices is legit. So book a consultation, go through the process, and see what comes out on the other side.
Sometimes they think their ancestors were sold by ours, so there is some jealousy. There's also jealousy because when we come here, we know where we came. We fight, which isn't always the case for them.
Damn, why would we want to fly to your country to hear you talk shit about us in French? That's hustling backwards, if you ask me.
To think about how a lot of Black Americans can low-key be colonizers. You know how a lot of Americans like to be in the spotlight? They always want to be at the center of the story. A lot of Black Americans are actually like that when it comes to African stories. They're not interested in Africa unless they're at the center of it. Good example is Woman King. There's also Black Panther, which had the backdrop of Africa, but they didn't even have a premiere event in at least 10 African countries. And no, don't tell me about the 1 or 2 African actors in these movies, because it's giving I have a Black friend. Also seen a couple of Black Americans traveling from America to African countries to have their hair done because it's cheap. It's giving cheap labor. Who else did that? There's also the passport bros who are like, oh my God, I should just go get a wife in Africa because they're easier to oppress and they don't have rights. Lately, there has been a huge number of Black Americans doing a lot of investments in African countries, especially real estate. But the problem is they're coming and they want to change everything. They're like, yo, the architecture that you have in these African countries, not our vibe. We're just going to bring that American aesthetic. You're just gentrifying a lot of African countries, but you don't care about that, right? As long as you get...
See, guys, you heard it here first. Let's never go to Africa, because when we go there and we patronize these poor imbeciles, they call us colonizers. Yeah, we get labeled as colonizers, but they'll never call a white person a colonizer, an Asian person a colonizer, oh, not a French person a colonizer, but we're the colonizers. Come on. Let's see what the Native Black American sisters think about this.
Along with the rest of Americans, I sat back and I waited. I wanted anything that may have been miscommunicated or misconstrued to be cleared up, to be elaborated on. And since that video, you've stated that you don't understand the disconnect, and that's exactly the point. There's a disconnect because African Americans share a lived experience here that is complex and unique in of itself. This system is quite literally reliant on our oppression to function. So when others speak on it and blame us for the oppression that we are in, as well as you, it's very triggering. Not because of something we don't want to hear or admit, but because the circumstances that we have been forced under are always blamed on us. And then we are called to fix problems that we did not create. Those on the outside regularly ignore historical context and how that plays a role in human behavior. You mentioned that we make up 13% of the population, but 30% of military personnel. Did you ask why? Did it occur that this could be because of limited or denied opportunities? A choice made out of duress to escape living conditions that our government forced many of my people in? Or could it be a result of an oppressive system that preys on young and vulnerable Black children? You did what they do to us all the time. You threw a statistic that is a reflection of our oppression in our face without understanding why, and then blamed us for it. People often simplify our trauma and obstacles to the point that the solution is made to sound easy. That way, if we object or present valid concerns, you can just paint us as being lazy or selfish. Just pull yourself up from the bootstraps. Just get a job. Just start a revolution. It's never a question. It's always expected of us to be at the forefront and risk the rights that we just got. We are only 2 generations removed from Jim Crow. 2 generations. And we are being shamed for wanting to avoid a Jim Crow America where extremists run free, go unpunished, where there is widespread legalized discrimination, again, only this time under a possible dictator. I am still failing to understand how that version of America will be of any use to anyone.
Ma'am, okay, sis is cooking, y'all. Sis is cooking. I agree with the sister 1000%. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't touch that dial. As soon as this broadcast ends, it's going to push you into the next live stream. I'll see you in just